Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I've got an interesting drone today. The folks at Potensic sent me one of their Dreamer 4K Pro drones. Now this is an interesting drone. I had the original Potensic Dreamer and it did not have a 3-axis gimbal on it, and therefore it was a little disappointing. Not a little disappointing, a lot disappointing. The footage off that drone, for all intents and purposes, was unusable because it was so shaky. Now, this drone is a big improvement because it has a 3-axis gimbal on it, and they've made some other changes too. Also, instead of your mobile device being connected to the controller via Wi-Fi, they're now using an OTG cable, so you're going to get a much more reliable connection from the controller to the drone, and to, more importantly, or as importantly, the FPV view that you get on your phone. The other thing that strikes me about this product is the presentation is really something special, and I think it makes it worthwhile. So I made some notes here. Let me talk about the specifications a little bit. You know, in this era of 4K drones, there's a lot of them out there. Whereas a year or two ago, that might have been something pretty dramatic. It isn't so much now, but there's some other things that this drone brings to the table. Form factor being one of them. Anyway, it's not a lightweight drone. It's an 820-gram drone, so you're going to have your FAA sticker on the side of that. Whether you're hobby or Part 107, you're still going to want to register the drone. They're saying a flight time of 28 minutes. It uses GPS and GLONASS. Obviously, it is a GPS drone. It has a 1/3 Sony sensor. Now, that's not a huge sensor. That's fairly small, but we'll see how it looks. 16 megapixels is what they're saying. Picture resolution, they're saying 4608 by 3456. Video resolution 3840 by 2160. So that's 4K at 30 frames per second. And it's the data rate is 60 megabits per second, which is pretty good, and supports a FAT32 file system. And it is in JPEG and H.264 codec. It says it'll use with between a 4 to 256 gigabyte card. I'm going to say a 32 gigabyte card is going to be all you need. And fortunately, they include an SD card with the drone. Not many companies do that nowadays. Let's see. So it is a 3,000 milliamp battery, 15.2 volts. It's a 4S LiPo essentially. So that's kind of the main things about the drone. I can't remember if I said flight time. They're saying 28 minutes, but most drone companies typically exaggerate that a little bit, or I don't know if they're talking about hovering or whatever. But if you get 20 minutes of flight time, trust me, that's going to be plenty. That's about all you need. But more importantly, or not more importantly, but something that is kind of cool about this drone is the presentation. So I want to open the thing up along with you here and show you what's in the box as I see it. I've looked inside the box. I haven't touched anything. We're going to do that together. So let's do that right now. Okay, the first thing that I want to show you is this case that they put it in here. Wow, this thing appears to be made out of aluminum, and it's got an interesting geometrical design on the front of it here and on all the top. They clearly, it's not often that a drone company goes to the trouble of building a quality case like this, and I think it says something for the presentation of the drone. So let's quit messing around. Let's open it up. So there you have it. So you can see the top of the case there, and now how it's got foam on there and holds everything in place. Now let's take a look at what's inside the box here. So of course you get the user manual, and I'll tell you what I typically do, and you can do it right on the Potensic website, is you can download this electronically, which is what I usually do, so I have it on my computer and I can look things over. And then here it is, the drone itself, and boy, it's a good looking piece. I like the red accents here, and it's packed really well. What does this say? It says to put the correct clockwise and counterclockwise props on. Of course, that's a given. That's something that we're going to want to do. So there it is, and you can see that there's that camera with on the 3-axis gimbal, and I can appreciate that it's packed real well with foam, etc. And you can see this is not a small drone. And then on the bottom here you can see the gimbal restraining device, or gimbal guard, whatever you want to call it. It does not appear to have a lens cover, but if you're keeping it in this case, you're probably all right. And you can see down in this case it's got the foam is set up that it's going to hold it pretty steady. So one of the things that I wanted to mention about this drone is the form factor, and the fact that it's a traditional drone with legs and fixed arms on it. You know, in this era of folding drones, that may seem like a negative, but I can tell you there's a lot of times when you may not need a folding drone, and if you're landing in grass, etc., or say you're out on the beach, those kinds of things, these legs can come in handy. And then also, if you're hand catching the drone, it is so easy to hand catch a drone by just grabbing the legs, and you're well clear of the props. So you know, that comes from the old Phantom 3, Phantom 4 days, and you know, I appreciate that. So let's turn it around here, and you can see where the battery goes here. So yeah, nothing really big to show there. But like I said, I think it feels like a good quality piece. I like the red accents on the arms here and the Potensic logo there. And I am not sure, but I believe that when you fire it up, this lights up with the Potensic logo, I believe. But you can see the, you know, take another look at the gimbal here, and it's well mounted on those silicone rubber cushions. So you know, we're going to find out when we fly it, but I look forward to nice smooth video with this guy. So what else have we got here? We've got the usual charge block. You know, that's you know, nothing terribly new to any of us. So you know, charge block is a charge block. Got the charge cord there. I don't think you guys are going to need me to take that thing out, but battery wise, comes with one battery, and this is that 3000 milliamp battery, rated at 15.2 volts, and you power it on and off on the back here. And yeah, it gives us instructions here. Our usual short press and long press, like we're used to with DJI products. So, and this slides right in the back of the drone. We might as well demonstrate that. I mean, you guys have all done it many times before. With anybody that's been around a lot of drones, they use this same process. So it just slides in the back here. I need to pull that off. Well, I don't need to pull it off to slide it in. Felt it snap in there, and you just hold down on these to pull it back out. Okay, what else have we got here? In fact, I can look at the list here and tell you what we should find. We should find the transmitter and an extra pair of propellers and the cables here. So here is the transmitter. So this is the FEMI style of transmitter, which I really like. And they're explaining to you here that no, your joysticks are not missing. They're under this cover right here. So there's your joysticks. You pull those out and screw them in. I like that. Keeps them out of the way. But it slides open like this, and that's where your mobile device is going to fit in. Sport mode, slide it over there. Regular mode here. That is a return to home button right there. That's takeoff and landing. This, of course, is the power button. Short press and then a long press. So it's on. Looks, we need to charge it. It's only half charged, but shut it back down. And then on the back here, I'm quite sure that this roller is for controlling the gimbal. I'm not sure. I'll have to look this one up. I suspect it's probably EV. And then we have the buttons on the back. That is take a picture, I'm sure. This has a gear next to it, so I better look that up. So next we're going to find the props here. And looks like, just as they say, there should be 6 of them. And sure enough, there's 6 propellers here. And how are they marking these? Oh, yeah, so they're marking them clockwise, and we should see, yeah, and different colored writing counterclockwise. And I remember the original Dreamer. You had to screw the propellers on, but these look like you would find the ones you would find on like a Phantom 4, where you simply push down, turn them, and lock them in. Okay, this last little bit here, we should find the cables, and sure enough, yeah. So you've got a USB to micro USB for charging, and that would be for charging the controller, I'm quite sure. In fact, let's look at the controller and see what kind of port we have here. And I'm sure it's a micro USB. Yeah, micro USB port there. So that makes sense that these are your OTG cables, and you have the major ones. This is the one I'll be using for iOS. And then you have a USB-C, and then a micro USB to micro USB. Hey, one more thing I wanted to show you is that they do include, and it's already in the slot on the camera, a 32 gigabyte micro SD card with the drone. So not many companies do that. Hey, the other thing I need to show you here is they do give you a little bit of a quick start guide, which is kind of interesting to let you get going real quick. Hey, okay, there's only one thing left to do, and that's let's get this battery charged up, this remote charged up, and let's get outside and let's get this bird in the air. Hey, this is the day after I recorded the introduction to the Potensic Dreamer Pro. So I've actually got it all put together, got the props on. Very easy to put them on. They're just like DJI. The twist-on ones work well. They're very clearly marked counterclockwise or clockwise and counterclockwise. Then if you look on the end of the arm, it tells you whether it's a clockwise or counterclockwise arm, and you just twist them on. So pretty simple stuff there. Got the battery installed in the back, and then you can see the camera here. I've got the gimbal. So you can see I took the gimbal restraint off of the camera, and then also I wanted to show you on top here, that's where the SD card goes, and it does come with a 32 gigabyte SD card, so we're going to try that out. Let me get this guy on the pad and ready to go, and I'll very quickly show you the controller. Okay, here's the controller. I have it all ready to go. A couple things that I've noticed messing around with the controller. The spring that holds this together is not as tight as what I've seen on, for instance, like the FEMI controllers. They seem to hold your phone a little tighter. So I'd be careful with your phone clamped in there. Just be aware of it. But then obviously you just plug the micro USB, and in my case the iOS cable into my iPhone 11. And this is, by the way, this is the iPhone 11 Pro Max, so it's a big phone. Oh, the other thing I noticed is the compartment back here. There's a compartment back here that you put the sticks in. They only give you one pair of sticks, so make sure you're careful with them and don't lose them. The other thing I noticed is you cannot put this controller in the case with the sticks on. I wish they would have made that provision. Just makes it a little bit easier than having to take the sticks on and off every time. The other thing is fairly mild day today. I think it says 14 mile an hour gusts, 7 mile an hour sustained. I don't even know if there's that much wind. There's a little bit of, but there's a good breeze, but nothing too terrible. About 78 degrees, which is so refreshing. We've had temps in the 100-degree range, and we got a couple of days reprieve now. I think tomorrow's supposed to be back up well into the 90s, so this was the day to do this. The other thing I want to say is I had intended to make the first flight with this drone someplace like the Snake River Canyon or something like that, but I just ran out of time. So honestly, Heroes Park here is a good way. If this is my first flight with this drone, and it's a nice wide open space, there's very few people here today, so it's just a good place to do it. And yeah, so let's quit messing around. Let's get this bird in the air. Hey, okay, couple thoughts here. I got logged in and it asked me to download some new firmware. The other thing is, and I've run into this with a lot of drones, it requires you to log into their website, and I've registered in the past with Potensic, but that's a little frustrating that you have to do that. I wish these drone companies would get away from that. You know, you're just trying to fly a drone, you know, they don't need your life story. So let's take a look here. It downloaded, but it didn't say anything about installing. And we do need to do a calibration, so let's get that out of the way. I'm going to start calibrating, and it's going to be pretty standard. Okay, there was a message on there that we overloaded the gimbal, but we did get that calibration done. I had to kind of stop to check that out. Let's look. Nothing to see here. Battery, we're at 99%. We're gonna leave that on metric. About maybe that, well, yeah, so it's saying to update. So I knew there'd have to be an update button someplace, so we're gonna click that. Do not move the aircraft. Make sure to insert the SD card. So we're gonna upgrade. So hopefully this won't take too long. It's going pretty fast. I probably should have fired this up at home first to check for updates. But honestly, when I do these kind of reviews, I kind of put myself in the place of just the average individual that's going to buy one of these drones. That's why I show you my very first flight with the drone, what I'm stumbling through when I'm trying to get it in the air, because I figure a lot of you guys are going to kind of have the same issues. Okay, the upgrade completed. And it told me that it's restarting the camera. So let's see if we get reconnected here. Yeah, and we did. So looks good. We're in 4K 30. Let's see, we're going to have to tell the phone to trust this computer. That is something that I've seen that is unique to FEMI drones. I'm just kind of guessing that FEMI, based on the design here, FEMI might have had something to do with this drone, but it is a Potensic drone. So I tell you, we've looked through the safety menu already. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off. We're going to check out stability in flight, and then we will test that return to home. I didn't see any setting for return to home height, so we want to check that out and see what it is. So let's start recording now. Well, you know what? First, let's look at the camera menu. So yeah, let's see. We want grid lines on. Let's turn that on. I'm glad we did that. Yeah, resolution ratio. We might as well format the SD card too while we're at it. Make sure, yeah, it says it's finished. Resolution ratio. I don't know what that exactly means. Oh, 4K 30. Okay, and we were already in 4K 30, so I think we're good there. And yeah, so that's about it for the camera menu. I guess there's a gear up there too. There might be. No, that's everything. I like the grid lines. Okay, we're going to start recording, and let's go ahead and take off, and let's do that. I don't know. Let's use the button on the controller here. So this button right here. And it spun up the drone, and you can see that it's, you know, looks pretty, well, it's moving around a little bit. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. It sounds like a Xiaomi drone. We're getting a little bit of circular motion there, so we'll see if it settles down. Could that just be the wind? Yeah. I don't know. It is moving around some, that's for sure. Let's yaw around here. And I didn't see anywhere in there that, well, yeah, there is a sport mode on the controller. So let's bring it in here as close as we dare. So I was kind of hoping that on the front of the drone there, that little black area would be lit up with the Potensic logo, but I don't see it. Well, okay, there's only one thing to do now. Let me see if I can drop the camera down. That's easy. And I'm going to check this other, the left hand. I'm going to back it up just a little because it was kind of pushing in here. And I'm going to check the other scroll wheel that's on the right hand side and see what that does. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything there, but we'll mess around with that some more. Let's go ahead and do our droning. And you can see the drone it's moving around a fair amount. So reverse and up now. And you know, the drone handles pretty good. A lot of, I gave it a little more upstick there. Okay, let's take it out a ways. Let's take it out about 60 meters. And we're about 26 meters high. So let's do a return to home. And I'm going to do that on the controller here. And let's see, let's make sure it comes home. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop some altitude too, because I want to see how high this guy rises. So we're down about 15 meters high. Let's hit return to home. And so that put it right into return to home. Let's see how high it goes here. About 20 meters is the return to home. And let me tell you, it's not messing around. Coming home at about 7 meters per second. Drop that camera down. You know, my first thought was just to cancel it, but I think I'm going to let it land, right? I mean, what's the point of, look at how fast it's coming down. I'm going to pick the camera up manually. I mean, it came right down. I mean, it didn't mess around. Let me tell you, when that thing goes into landing mode, it's landing. But the point that I wanted to make, and let's see, yeah, you can see it on the GoPro here. You can see it in the grass. That's the cool thing. That was one of the points I wanted to make. The cool thing about a drone like this is you've got legs on it and you can keep it up above the grass, etc. So let's go ahead and put it back on the pad. And because it was in the grass there, it gave us a little bit of a gimbal error. And we're still recording, so I'm going to leave it recording here. Let's go ahead and take off. Let's do takeoff on the app this time. So one more time. Yep, we got to slide that. And I just kind of want to look at that takeoff again. You know, the last one, it doesn't get very high off the ground when it takes off, as you can see. So anyway, let's go ahead and grab some altitude and move forward here. And let's just fly around a little bit. Let me drop that gimbal down. I'm seeing the gimbal control is a little bit touchy, and I'm seeing a little bit of yeah, you know, maybe just a hint of a crooked horizon. Maybe it looked a little bit more earlier. This yaw control is fairly sensitive, but that's something you get used to. Let's go ahead and grab some altitude here. I'm telling you, no problems with interference. We've got a good, solid FPV connection. The other thing I want to tell you is a drone like this, I am getting a really good just a solid look at on FPV. There's no stuttering. There's no nothing weird going on there at all. It's refreshing to fly a drone that actually works. So let's yaw around some more. And maybe we can get across. Well, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I was going to say maybe we could go across the road there, wait for cars to go by. But let's just get used to the drone here for a while. We're down to 80% battery already. In fact, we need to test the speed of the drone. So here we are. And the other thing, yeah, so you can see just a little hint of a crooked horizon there. Not too bad. I'd say that's perfectly acceptable, particularly for a drone in this price range. So let's go ahead and go full stick forward, and let's see how fast we can get this baby up to. This is in normal mode, and we're heading due east now. So about 5 meters per second, which is reasonable. And I got to tell you, because this is a white drone and it's a bigger drone, it's so easy to spot it in the sky. You talk about VLOS, visual line of sight. That's the advantage of a drone like this. It's really easy to see it. And sorry about that quick yaw. I'm struggling with that a little bit, trying to figure this guy out. Okay, I'm pointing it due west. Here, struggling. Okay, I'm going to back it up just a little bit. And then we're going to put it in sport mode, and let's see how fast we can get to the other side of the park here. Okay, sport mode is enabled, and I heard the beep, but I'm looking for an indication on the app. I don't see an indication on the app that oh, there if I look at the very top, I'm going to switch back. No, I saw an S. Yeah. So if you look at the very top, that leftmost icon, now it's in normal. If I put it over to the other side, it'll turn to an S and it'll say sport. Okay, that's how you can tell on the app. So full stick forward now. And it's, you know, it's kind of going into the wind here, but, you know, man, over 8 meters per second. So, you know, that's about, you know, 18, 19 miles an hour. And I'm looking at the drone in the sky. I mean, it's moving right along. Okay, off the stick. And the reason that I'm doing those abrupt stick movements is to see how that gimbal deals with it. So let's turn it around again. And I think I was going into the wind there. So let's go back the other direction and sport mode and see what kind of, see how it does. And by the way, we have been recording for over 8 minutes now, and we're at 70% battery, so I'd say that's pretty darn good. Okay, full stick, completely forward, right stick, and let's see, this should be kind of more with the wind, but it's about the same speed, about 8 meters per second. I see some people over there. We're gonna move over to the side. We don't want to be messing around over the top of anybody. But you know, so far, I'm not going to be able to tell you till I get home and look at the SD card. But what I see on the FPV screen here looks real good with regard to gimbal performance and camera performance. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording right here, and I'm going to switch into camera mode. And it's putting me through a tutorial. There we go. I got it into camera mode. So it's taken a second. So let's take a picture. And it took it there. And I'm not going to start recording again yet. Let's go. Let's move around, and we'll go to the other corner of the park here. And again, we're still in sport mode. So full stick forward. Let's see how fast this guy goes. It's fun watching the drone. The drone is so easy to see in the sky. I'm just telling you. You forget how you know, a drone with this kind of form factor, there's definitely advantages. Okay, so I'm going to look over there at the Costco. You guys have seen this site before a few times. Let's grab some altitude. Let's go up a little bit. And I'm going to drop the gimbal down a little bit. And it looks like they're doing some work behind the Costco. It's been a while since I've looked at that. I wonder what's going in there. Anyway, we're going to take a picture right now. There's a picture. And I'll take a minute and put that on the screen. I'm going to switch back into video mode here. You know, I am so pleased with the performance of this guy. I mean, I'm telling you, it as far as the controls and how it flies, it's just been exemplary. Okay, we're going to drop some altitude again. We don't need to be quite that high. And let's move forward. And I'm still in sport mode, so I've got some speed up here. And I see the drone kind of moving around, I'm anxious to see that movement back and forth. That ain't me on the sticks. So that's probably the first defect I've seen. Now that's in sport mode. I'm going to put it in normal mode and see if I see the same thing. Yeah, I'm not getting that in normal mode. So here's what my bet is. In sport mode, when you're traveling at those kind of speeds, it is overcoming the gimbal, and so the gimbal is moving around. Wow, it's going to be tough for us to get across the street here. Look at all those cars. We'll see if we can get a gap, and if we can, we'll head across the street there and take a look at the see if we can get out over the field there a little ways. Again, it is so you forget the form factor of a drone like this and how much easier it is to see. Man, guys, I don't know. We got so much traffic here. I don't know. Maybe this isn't worth it. Well, maybe. Yeah, I remember when this was a 2-lane road and I used to be able to just cross this street just without any issues. Okay, I'm going to throw it in sport mode so we get across fast. And I'm going to hit it now just as that car goes by. And boy, like I said, it definitely affects the gimbal. In sport mode, in full stick, you can see that gimbal moving around a little bit. Okay, back into normal mode, and then let's head out here a ways. So that is the first issue that I can tell you that I've seen with regard to the performance of this guy. Other than that, so if you're looking for cinematic footage, as long as you leave it in normal mode, and of course even in sport mode, I was full stick forward. You probably wouldn't have that problem, and it could have to do also with the wind direction. But as you can see, we're out there a ways, and the drone is operating like it should. I mean, there's no issues here, no blinks or anything on FPV. They're claiming, I think they said, an 800-meter FPV range, and a lot farther than that for control. So this is me turning around, and yeah, whoa, I overshot it there. So that was a little bit blocky, a little bit stuttery when I was trying to adjust that, yeah. Whoop, man, oh man, I'm telling you. So, and I'm in normal mode. Okay, that's a little better. So it can be difficult to control the. I'm just telling you, it can be difficult to control the yaw on this guy, and you saw that. And of course, we were a ways off. And again, here as we get closer, we're going to have to look and find a gap in traffic, which I think we can do. Oh yeah, look at that, we're good. Let's hit it, let's throw it in sport mode, and boom. Got the Apple News there on the app. Yeah, so you know what? I think my theory with regard to sport mode and the gimbal moving around definitely has to do with the wind, because the wind has calmed down, and look at this, it's just fine. That's a pretty good size camera and gimbal on this drone, so that definitely can affect it. And here we're moving at about 8 meters per second. It's going to be about right over the top of me right now. And that's the other thing I'm going to tell you is it's you know, it's a fairly quiet drone. I mean, it's right over the top of me, and I can hear it. I'm not saying I can't hear it, but it certainly isn't loud by any means. So we've been in the air, gosh, I'm going to say at least 15 minutes, maybe longer. Hopefully I'll be able to tell. I didn't set a timer. Hopefully we'll be able to tell that in the flight records when we're done here. Okay, let's go back into normal mode. Let's bring her over and bring it in here, and we'll just look around a little bit. Dropping some altitude down to 38% battery. Man, the only thing I'm struggling with, and as you guys can see, is the yaw. It is you really have to be careful on that yaw adjustment. So I'm bringing it down and into us here. And there again, it's so cool. I can see the drone. One thing I'm going to tell you is the drone moves around. I wish I could get the camera on it. When it's in flight, the drone is actually rocking back and forth. And I think my friend Ryan Duvall reported that too. It's kind of odd. The drone in flight, it kind of rocks around a little bit. I'll see if I can get some pictures of that. Well, you know what? I saw it when it was up higher. So I'm bringing it in front of the camera here. In front of the GoPro. So let's bring it in here a little bit. Like I said, as far as really precise control, if you're comparing this to, say, you know, a Mavic Mini or something, it's not that for sure. It's not, it's not that kind of precise control. It flies okay. But you know, you can see it kind of moving around, and you see where it's kind of rocking back and forth. It does that in the air too. Let's back it straight up, and let's see if I can bring it straight towards us. And you can see it kind of moving around there a little bit. Let's see if it does it. Well, you didn't really see it much there. Let me back it up further. And you know, I'm thinking about this. Could that even be cross-coupling in the controls? In other words, when you're flying it, the control sticks are not, they're not terribly tight. In other words, there's not a lot of resistance on the control sticks. Although look at it move around there. I'm hands off the sticks, and it's moving around. We're going straight forward. And you know, I don't think I had that stick straight up, and it kind of moved off to the side. So anyway, theories are just theories. I don't know. But it definitely, I will say this, the drone definitely moves around some. And I'm not going to test the brakes because I don't know the drone well enough to get it closer to the camera. If this was a DJI drone, I'm more confident in what they do, and that's just from experience, that I would have been you know, really happy to just to test that a little bit more. But this guy, because I don't know it as well, I'm a little reticent to do that. Let's go and let's see if we can do a manual circle. I'm gonna get more altitude here, and we're going to just see if we can do a manual circle around the flag. Boy, I'll tell you, it's going to be tough with this. And we got kids there in that parking lot, so we'll have to watch that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just messing around with the with the left stick, and I'm telling you, I already am having problems modulating it. So again, we're in normal mode. Let me see if I can do an orbit here. This is a manual orbit. And I am barely moving that yaw. Yeah, and there I over yawed. I knew I would do that. I am just barely touching that yaw stick. Yeah, that's tough. And we got kids over there, so I'm not going to mess around with that. I don't want to be over the top of them. So, boy, you know, there again, you just saw me yaw there. Yeah, low battery. So that's at 20%. At 20%, it gave us that low battery warning. Let's go out to the other corner, and we'll do a return to home. I wonder at what point. I was wondering about this. I wonder at what point it will go into return to home. And I can tell you the battery life on this thing is excellent. I think they're saying 25 minutes, and I'm just going to guess it's probably all of that. Yeah, so they're at 18%, and I don't know if there's an algorithm in there or what, but that did an auto return to home. And it's coming back to us, and it's coming back in sport mode. Heck, faster than sport mode. It was over 8 meters per second there. I mean, this guy does not mess around. Okay, let's drop this camera down so we can see where it's going to land. And if it gets too close to us here. Okay, I canceled that because it was going to land too close to, looked like it was going to land right on top of the roof here. So I'm bringing it down manually. And you know what? It's landing. It didn't even, as soon as I hit that down stick, as I let off, and it's just landing. Okay, let's stop recording. Okay, let me get everything shut down, and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, okay, the Potensic Dreamer Pro. You know, I came away pleased with this thing, at least what I've seen so far. Now, you guys will have already seen the video off the SD card and the pictures we took, so you'll know a little better than me. Now, flight time, you know, I was kind of guessing flight time while I was flying there. The flight records, and I'll put a screenshot of that on the screen. It shows the 2 minutes and whatever that we spent doing the update, and then it was about 18 minutes and some odd seconds of actual flight time. I thought it was longer than that, but regardless, it's still, I'm pleased with the battery. So I think you get 100% charge on the battery. You're not doing any updates with it or anything or messing around with it much. You're probably going to get at least 20 minutes of flight time, and probably more like 20 to 25. I guess that's probably a better way to say it. The performance of the app was excellent. No crashes, no problems. I think there was only one point that I noticed a little bit of a stutter when I was out across the field at distance out there. When I was yawing, I noticed a little bit of stuttering in FPV on the app, but it was out there a ways, and I'm standing next to an overhead, big steel overhead here, so I'm going to give it a pass on that. And you're probably likely, this probably just isn't a drone you're going to be flying that far anyway. I just did that to just kind of check the performance, but we had no connection issues, no dropouts, nothing. It flew fine. The other thing that I noticed is when I had it up at altitude and I was bringing it back, it would kind of rock a little bit. Now, could that be the controls? Could that have been me cross-coupling, kind of moving that right control stick back and forth, and so it was banking a little bit? Possibly. I would say if that's the case, then there needs to be a way to adjust those controls so they're not so sensitive, and they are very sensitive. And there's not a lot of the springs in there are not very strong, so there's not a lot of pushback. So, you know, I suppose you could thumb with this, but you're probably going to be better off trying to pinch. Just an observation. Speed-wise, you know, it's fast enough. We had it a little over 8 meters per second. That's about, I don't know, 18, 19 miles an hour. That's plenty fast. That was in sport mode. We did see this camera kind of wobble around a little bit when we were in sport mode, and I think that was affected by the way the wind, we were kind of going a little bit across to the wind, and my theory is, and it's just a theory, that the gimbal motors could not overcome that. The wind resistance against the gimbal, against the camera, and it was constantly correcting. I believe that's probably the case. Although, I guess I was telling you about how the thing kind of rocked back and forth, maybe, I don't know. But when we came back the other direction, it didn't do it. So that kind of lends credence to me that it might have been a wind issue. Don't know for certain. That was only in sport mode. As long as I had it in normal mode, it was fine. So if you're going to get in cinematic stuff, of course you're going to be in normal mode. I'll have to dig into the app some more. I don't think there's a cinematic mode. I wish there was, because when I was trying to do the orbit around the flagpole, it was tough because that yaw stick is so sensitive and there's no resistance in those springs. It just was really hard to do. So we didn't try any of the intelligent flight modes. This guy does an orbit, and it will do GPS follow me, and then it also has a waypoint functionality in there. I believe it has a waypoint. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure it's got a waypoint functionality. We'll check all of that out on another video. But oh, the other thing that I wanted to say about it is flying within visual line of sight, VLOS. It was so cool because you could see this thing so easy. You know, I fly the DJI mini drones, and they don't have to be out there very far, and they're pretty tough to see. This guy, you could see it going back and forth across the sky. It was, I was pretty tickled about that. So, you know, that in conjunction with the presentation that Potensic gives you, in other words, the case and how well everything's put together, I really like that. You know, without having looked at the video yet, I'm going to give this guy a definitely a grade. I'm going to call it a B+. And I can say that I absolutely can recommend it. It is available on Amazon, and when I looked this morning, they had one of those coupons where you just check the box, and that brought the price down to $429. So I'll put a link to that in the description below. And again, if the form factor is one thing, that $429 puts it, you know, right about what a DJI Mini 2 would be. And I guess what I'm saying is, if there are advantages to a bigger drone, easier to see, these legs, landing it in grass like we did here. Also, if you're going to hand catch, it's so easy to grab these legs and you're well away from the propellers. You could literally hand launch and hand catch, you know, if you're out someplace that you don't have a suitable landing spot. So yeah, anyway, I guess that's about it. I had fun flying this guy. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And of course, we'll see you on the next one. Bye now. Potensic Dreamer Pro. Bye.